connected to Griffith University epidemiologist. Pak Dicky Budiman, always good to see you back in our show. Good morning, Pak Dicky.
Good morning, Pak Dicky.
Early morning, because you're all the way from Turkey. Thank you for joining us.
Early morning. Good. Good early morning.
Good early morning. Now, Pak Dicky, we want to talk about this. Is it really in sight for the end of this pandemic? Because according to several experts, Joe Biden's recent declaration that the COVID-19 pandemic was over was premature. So what's your take on this, Pak Dicky?
Yeah, the pandemic, of course, is getting better in terms of our management to control the virus compared to early pandemic or the second year of pandemic. But the problem with the pandemic is that many parts of the world still not can get the vaccination coverage and under the WHO recommendation, and also the problem with the pandemic also, it's not depend on our intervention or our human effort, but also rely on how this virus character, because we still don't know yet the real character of this virus, and that's the main part of the problem of every pandemic, because as far as we know, this virus still mutate, very fast mutation, and even the earliest new mutation the world now facing is there's two new variants, BA275.2 and also BQ1.1. Two of them become our major threat in the following months, and because they can decrease the efficacy of antibody, not only from the vaccination, but also any treatment now is useless because this new variant. So the meaning of the pandemic is, the end of pandemic is already inside, or we already, or some of experts also say is in the end of the tunnel. We already see this light of end of this crisis, but that doesn't mean we already achieved the finish line.
Okay.
So it depends of our consistency to do our intervention during this, this marathon with the virus.
Yeah.
And the meaning of this also is rely on our collaboration, global collaboration, because pandemic is global problem, and pandemic needs global cooperation to solve it.
All right. Yeah, but we still need to be optimistic about this, right, Kai?
Yeah, certainly. I mean,
Yes.
While I was listening to Pak Dicky, the one thing that I was again reminded is that there are countries who have the luxury, like us in Indonesia, to get free vaccinations.
Yeah.
And I had to Google how many countries had and what countries had the lowest vaccination rates. And there are still countries with 0% vaccinated, because there are still countries where they actually don't give it for free, right? So it's very, very interesting. But let's go back to Indonesia for say. I have made some trips abroad, and I felt like the restrictions there are so much easier than in Indonesia. And but I feel like we have more people vaccinated than those countries as well. So we're not actually doing too bad, but we're very cautious. But according to the data from the SARS-CoV-2 serological survey in Indonesia conducted by the Ministry of Health and a team from the University of Indonesia's Faculty of Public Health, as many as 98.5% of Indonesia's population now already had COVID-19 antibodies as by July 2022. Does this mean that we are ready to end COVID-19 pandemic or ease the restrictions that we have currently?
So the meaning of this community antibody or community immunity is that we have more protection to prevent severity and also fatality from the virus. That's the meaning. But the problem with this immunity from COVID-19, it doesn't stay for long or not last for, let's say, no more than 6 months. That's the first problem. So that's why the booster is very important. Because even our vaccine now that the world already has, or in Indonesia also produced the Sinovac, and also the earliest, maybe early next month, Indonesia also will release the new vaccine. But the problem with the new generation of this COVID-19 vaccination is that they have, of course, significant efficacy to protect from severity and fatality, but they also have weakness or limitation. First, the duration of protection still cannot last more than 1 year, even less than 1 year. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, the protection from infection is also cannot achieve maybe more than 70%, especially with against the new variant. So it means the breakthrough infection. We call it the breakthrough infection. So someone who already get the vaccination still can get COVID-19.
Yeah,
of course.
Especially if they are, they break the law, or the way they live is very messy in terms of, they don't
the restrictions.
Wear a mask. They also, going to the crowded, and also, in indoor, indoor, they also have the very low quality of air, and that's the problem. In Indonesia, as also in many parts of the world.
Yeah.
So it means vaccination is important, and also significant effective in terms of prevent severity and fatality. But we need also, in Indonesia, we need 5M. Okay. We need also early detection to find the infected person and prevent more transmission. So those combination under, we call it public health social measure, or in Indonesia we call it PPKM, is very important. So that's why, again, I always recommend the government that we still have to maintain this PPKM. Of course, at the lowest level, because it will remind all of us that the pandemic still exists. That we still have we still face this problem, and that's also in line with the WHO recommendation early in this September in their policy brief, that this public health social measure is very important in terms of to cover, or we call it the umbrella policy or intervention, and for other intervention. We call it 3T, 5M, and also the vaccination. So again, the intervention is not rely only to the vaccination. We have to combine.
Yeah, we still have to prepare ourselves for the worst, right, Pak Dicky? Now, I just came home from holiday, Pak Dicky, and I went to Netherlands with my aunt and also my grandma, and they actually had the booster for the 5th time this week. So it's interesting for me because here in Indonesia, we only received our 3rd, right? Our 3rd. Now, by already having antibodies, we talked about this, maybe we also have the immunity in our country. Is it still necessary, Pak Dicky, to do a booster vaccine, and in how long the interval from one booster to another booster?
It is important to get the booster because, again, the limitation of our current vaccine or COVID-19 vaccine is that they cannot protect us from more than 6 months, actually.
More than 6 months, okay.
So usually the booster range or space time between the first booster and the next one is usually 3 to 4 months currently. So until we get or we have new vaccine who can protect us more, like currently maybe the developed country, let's say in USA and also Europe. That's the reason why I also come in Europe now.
Yeah?
They will release also the nasal vaccination.
Wow.
Nasal vaccination,
Okay.
it seems one of our new solution to have long protection from the COVID-19. So, and also it's easier because it's not, we don't have to get the injection, and nasal is seem one of our best hope currently to have this protection from COVID-19. So personally speaking, I got already 6
What?
jabs from COVID-19 vaccine. So yeah, especially for elderly,
Yeah.
the one who has high mobility like me.
Yeah.
Especially I'm global citizen,
Yeah.
so I'm even for the last 2 weeks I went to many countries. So
Okay.
because I face with many people and also community health workers,
Yeah.
the one who has the comorbidity, they all of them is on the list to recommend to have this booster.
Yeah.
So not for all or not for general population. The next booster, let's say the 4th one, the 5th one, maybe for selective population who has the, let's say, we call it has a risk or high risk in terms of their occupation or in terms of their body condition. So two of the reason why we need the next booster. Because again, the definition of full or fully vaccinated person for COVID-19, to get the protection from COVID-19, it seems not 2 doses, but 3 doses.
3 doses.
3 doses.
Yeah.
So that's the new definition that I already recommend many countries, including Indonesia, to make a new definition of a fully dosed or fully vaccinated definition. It's become 3 doses.
Okay.
Well, you know, certainly very interesting, the nasal vaccination. It's like a nasal spray, drop. Very good.
Yes, yes.
But,
yes.
Pak Budi, it's very interesting because I've been listening to Shadnas where in the Netherlands they have access to 4th and 5th, you know, vaccine. We here are barely struggling to get the third, to get everybody to get the 3rd one. We've been, you know, getting the right incentives and giving the right incentives to make sure that people get their 3rd vaccines. So all in all, in conclusion, Pak Budi, what do you think does Indonesia need to finally be able to come and see the endemic on the end of the tunnel? And just one question. When do you think our condition and what's going to be the indicator for a condition for us to at least take off the masks? Because this is just so funny. I go abroad and they don't wear masks anymore. But we are very cautious in Indonesia. Could you enlighten us for what reason our government is still a lot more cautious than other governments who already, they're not wearing any, you know, any masks outdoors fully, some still indoors, you know what I mean? So please, in your conclusion, what do you need, what do you think Indonesia really still has to focus on in regards to achieving that goal?
So first, our non-pharmaceutical intervention is very important. Let's say the PPKM, the 5M, and also the testing, our early detection. That's very important to maintain until end of this crisis. And it's mean also our new behavior or new adaptive behavior, including wearing masks, including washing hands regularly, is very important, because unmasked and wearing masks, it's not under criteria end of pandemic. Because wearing masks, it depends on our air quality. It depends on where where we are. Let's say I'm now alone or with my wife, let's say in my room with the good ventilation. So it's okay to put off your mask. But when you are in very bad, crowded area, indoor area with this many people there, you have to wearing mask.
Okay.
Even the crisis is already end because the problem with our environment is that the air quality is still our problem. For currently, pollution, then still many other pathogens that we still face. TB, TB pathogen also, many flu, So it means wearing mask, it doesn't mean that the problem or the pandemic still there, but the wearing mask, it means the pathogen in our air is still our problem.
Oh, okay.
Or the quality of air is still our problem. So that's why under MDG, our Millennium Development Goals, or under SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, air quality is one of the goals that the world should be achieved because we need this, good quality of air.
Of course.
So again, mask is still important when you see the air quality is your problem there. So then for Indonesia, and even for global level now, we already on the track to achieve our end of our crisis or end of the pandemic. We already on the track.
On the track.
Compared to the first and the second year of pandemic. But again, like the WHO DG already mentioned, and many experts, including me, already mentioned that we still in the race against this virus. And this is marathon. So it means we cannot claim or declare that we already win. How come we declare we already won or win this competition? Because the finish line is still there. Inside, yes, but still there. So the consistency to do our effort, wearing masks, vaccination, PPKM, that's the best way that we have to still do it until the end of this crisis.
Okay.
And that's our challenge because many people will feel, fatigue and all that. But again, through this CTV, for my final conclusion that we have to protect ourselves, our family, by do our best start from yourself. Like wearing mask is very important. Simple way, but it's very effective to protect our community.
I see. Okay, so the highlight of this discussion is the pandemic is still here and we have to be vigilant. So all in all, in conclusion, Joe Biden is a bit premature, ya, Pak Dicky?
Very bit premature. And U.S. situation is very worse. Very worse.
Yeah.
For even yesterday, 600 death case a day.
In a day.
A day is very high in a day. It's very high. Compared to flu, only like 50.
Wow, okay. Let's just hope the best for the U.S., but here in Indonesia, the situation is better, thankfully, and we hope we can end this pandemic soon. And Pak Dicky, stay safe in Turkey. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yes,
have a great day, Pak Dicky.
early in the morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.